So I know starting a new martial art, it's very daunting, whatever that discipline is, boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, wrestling, whatever it is, it all comes with the same sort of anxiety of, signing up to a class for the first time, especially if you've never trained before or you're looking to join a new club. Yeah, it can be very, very daunting. So what I'm going to do today is just break down the common fears and how to overcome those common fears. So number one, you're way overthinking it. You're worried about what people are going to think. You're worried that people are going to be judging you for walking through the door. In reality, no one really cares about you joining. The people who are already training, let's just say at the boxing club, they don't care if you're coming to the club, and they're not judging you for joining the club and coming for the first time. And it's the same with any of those disciplines. I think it's easy to get in your own head and think, oh, they're going to judge me, are they going to like me, etc. It's not like that at all. So I think the first thing you need to understand is that no one cares about you in regards to going to a club for the first time, meeting new people. So if that is a huge fear, which is one of the main fears for people, is are they going to like me? Are they going to be nasty to me? Are they going to make me feel like I'm not welcome? You'd be surprised. All these clubs, are really, really welcoming. You'll find that with people who are training properly, who are competing, they actually welcome you and they want you to join and be part of the family. So I think that's number one. Don't overthink it. No one cares about you. Number two is people think they need to get super fit before they actually go to a club. I mean, I've heard it many times where people are like, oh, I'm just going to get a bit fitter, then I'm going to go down to the boxing club, or I want to get a bit fitter, then I'm going to start wrestling. In reality, you're just making excuses and you don't really, really want to train, because ultimately you're going to boxing clubs, you're going to MMA clubs, you're going to get fitter in the process. So when you're saying to yourself, I'm just going to get fitter first before I actually join a club, that's just your way of saying, I don't really, really want to join. And I'm just making any excuse that I can to actually not start. And yes, it's daunting, but it's just an excuse. Number three is you're putting way too much pressure on the long-term commitment to this. And what I mean by that is you think that if you join a club that you're going to have to be competing, you're going to have to be training 5 days a week, and you're not ready for that commitment right now. And that's fine. You might never even want to do that. There's plenty of people that just train casually once a week, twice a week, never compete. You do get those people at the clubs they just go there for the fitness. They go there to learn how to defend themselves. They love the community and the family that's in that club as well. So I think that a lot of the time you can get caught up in your own brain when you're thinking, well, when I go, I'm going to have to train 5 days a week. I'm going to have to then compete, and then I just need to get ready for that mindset before I actually join the club. And then what happens is that weeks have gone by, months have gone by, you never end up joining that club because you put too much pressure on the long-term outcome. The best thing is if you're undecided of whether how many days you want to train or whatever that situation is, just go once a week. Take that pressure off. Just build up some momentum in walking through those doors, and take the pressure off the long-term goal. Just get through the doors. It's not that daunting, and you won't regret it for sure. Number four is you're scared of getting hurt. I mean, each discipline is a bit different. Boxing, you're scared to get a punch in the face. Same for like the Muay Thai, the kickboxing. When it comes to like say wrestling, jiu-jitsu, you're scared of maybe getting injuries. Injuries come with martial arts. Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, they all come with the potential risk of injuries. The beauty of the grappling side of things, although there's risk elements to injury, which is fine, there's always a risk element there. You can't hide from that. But when it comes to the grappling side of things, you're never going to get punched in the face. You're never really going to get any, crazy injuries or head injuries, unless you're just very, very unlucky. But of course, that's different to say the boxing side of things, where the aim of the sport is to punch the opponent in the head. When it comes to like boxing, for example, and you're scared of getting hit, you don't actually have to spar. If you're new, you're not going to spar at all. You'll just be doing bag work, hitting the pads, conditioning, skipping. It's only after, you know, weeks of training, or you could potentially even months of training, you'll then get asked, do you want to spar? And if you don't want to, you don't have to. There's plenty of people that train for years at boxing clubs that don't actually spar. They just love the fitness. They love hitting the pads, you know, the bag. They just love the whole element of that. And of course, teaching themselves or learning to defend themselves in the process. When it comes to like Muay Thai as well, it's a lot easier to spar as a beginner in Muay Thai. You can do a lot more touch sparring. So it's not rare for you to spar on your first session in Muay Thai. I mean, if you want to anyway. And you can actually leave the session without even feeling like you've been sparring, because if you're new in Muay Thai, people aren't going to just be kicking the shit out of you or punching the hell out of you. It's a lot more controlled and touch sparring, and people will, you know, talk you through and bring you through the sparring session in regards to that. So it's not something to be scared about. You know, you're not going to get thrown in the deep end. Of course, if you're training consistently, you might want to do that long term, but it's nothing to be scared of. And number 5 is the fear of being shit, which is fine. You know, everyone starts somewhere. You know, you might just feel like, you know, you're going to be super embarrassed if you don't know what you're doing, or you can't fight properly, or you can't hit the pads properly, or you've never done jiu-jitsu and you just feel like you just have no idea what you're doing in the slightest. Everyone has started at that stage, you know, and that's what prevents a lot of people from, you know, taking the first step. Yes, if you've never done any combat before, I mean, you might feel a bit silly that you've never, you know, trained in this martial arts, and then you go into a club, but it's fine. Everyone's been there, and you'd be surprised how quick, you know, you can improve your skills. Of course, to get to a super high level, it's going to take many, many years of training, but to get the basics locked down, be surprised how quickly you can get the basics locked down in a lot of these different martial arts. It's just consistency of showing up, and if you want to learn, you will. But don't let the fear of, like I said, being shit stop you from actually taking the first step. So don't let the fear of being shit put you off, because everyone who is good now was shit at one stage. So everyone who's good now can still relate to you being new and being a beginner. It's fine. The people with more experience, you know, actually take pleasure in helping you out and bring you to the next level, as long as you're showing up and you're showing commitment and consistency. So just understand that everyone's been at the same stage as you, but don't get caught up in the trap of that stopping you from joining a club. I promise you, you won't have any regrets with showing up, getting stuck in, learning the basics, and if you really find a passion for it, you know, you will get a lot better, a lot quicker than you think, as long as you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to grind hard. So I hope these tips have been helpful. Let me know, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Every subscriber makes a huge, huge difference for me growing this channel to give you the content that you need. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.